Hi there, welcome back to Leeds Lobby. This is our prediction video. What we're actually going to look at is we're going to do a slightly different slant on it to what many other channels have done. We're going to obviously look at where we think some of the teams are going to be placed. We're going to look at it in terms of their transfer window. So what we're actually going to look at is who they've had come in, who they've had go out, what sort of value that's necessarily added to the squad, and what we think that's going to, at the end of the day, make them a better team. And Dan's going to give his predictions on whether each and every team is going to be either challenging for Europe, in a dogfight at the bottom, or in mid-table mediocrity, and whether that transfers are going to lift them up or they're going to drop them down. So before we actually go any further, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to hit that like button, and let us also know within the comments what you actually think. So I'm going to start our video by looking at Wolves. So what do you think about Wolves' action in the transfer window? Where do you think they've gone?
I personally think Wolves will be in a relegation fight this season. And it's quite a popular opinion. It seems to be quite the... There's normally one team fighting relegation that you wouldn't expect. Last season it was Everton. But I think Wolves will sign Nathan Collins, who wasn't even a regular in a Burnley team who went down. That's really the only player they signed. They sent Fabio Silva, their record signing, their next Ronaldo signing, out on loan to Sporting. I just don't think it's going to cut it. I think they lost 7 games on the trot, or they didn't win in 10 games last season.
What was it that was causing them to lose those games, do you think?
I think it was a bit of a combination. Jimenez obviously got suspended after a second yellow, so he was suspended for a game. I think that we knocked them off of their high horse a bit. They were challenging for Europe, but then all of a sudden we came along and sort of knocked them down a bit, knocked them down a peg or two, really.
So you actually think that Wolves will be from a
fight,
team that started last season hoping to be challenging for Europe, you think they're going to be in a relegation fight?
I think Bruno Lage will be probably one of the first managers to get sacked next season. I don't think that he's a bit clueless, if I'm being honest.
So do you think they're going to be just edging towards mid-table and possibly dragged in, or do you think they're going to be one of the teams that are going to go down?
I don't think they'll go down. I think they've got enough quality in their squad. Chiquinho obviously getting injured. One of their starlets that's just come back off loan. A bit like Cody Drama is going to be for us, really. Chiquinho's just got injured, and I think he was a big part of their season plans. I just think that they'll probably, for me, probably 15th, around 16th to 14th. That mark will be where they finish.
Let's move on. Let's look at West Ham.
West Ham.
Sonny Perkins, thank you very much. Thank you very much for training him up. Thank you very much for developing him. And we'll take it from here.
Yeah, I think the news has just come out. They're in talks with Armando Broja, who Leeds really wanted. He is a quality striker. Now, the problem is they're in Conference League. And you look at Leicester, who were challenging for Champions League every season. All of a sudden, they drop off. They get Conference League, bang, they're finishing 10th in the league. Conference League is so tightly packed with the Premier League fixtures. You have to play with two completely different 11s. You have to have 4 players for every position, because you have to have 2 completely different 11s, 2 completely different benches. And for me, I personally, as a Leeds fan, I've said this before, I would rather not get Europe at all than get Conference League, because it completely destroys your stamina, it completely destroys your team. You pile up injuries, as Leicester did this season. Wesley Fofana got an injury, Jamie Vardy got an injury. I think that the Soyuncu was out for a period of time. There's always they're in Europe, but they managed to scrape Europe over a few of the teams.
And I think West Ham will probably be disappointed when they finish last season. So what about the signings? Do you think they strengthen the squad or weaken the squad?
They're signing Broja, obviously. They're looking at quite a few players.
Have they done enough to push on, do you think?
No, I don't. I think they're signing quite a few. They've obviously sold Ryan Fredericks, one of their right backs. They have a real problem with their fullbacks, really, for me. They've obviously got Masuaku, who's not a fullback who should be pushing for Europe. Okay. They've sent Ryan Fredericks out to Bournemouth. I think that they'll be probably 9th to 7th.
Okay, so do you think they'll be 9th to 7th? So you think they'll be mid-table mediocrity?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Let's have a look at Tottenham.
I have a really unpopular opinion about Spurs, and that is that they will be challenging for the title this year. Ooh. And I have a really some good reasons for that. Antonio Conte is a quality manager who was being touted out by PSG for the manager's job, and he went Spurs. He's bought in the players that he needs. He's bought in Yves Bissouma from Brighton. He's bought in Ivan Perisic from Inter Milan. He's obviously he's brought in quite a few players. He's brought in Jed Spence. That looks like a very, very good team for next season, a very scary team next season. And I do think that now they've got Champions League and Kane's going to be playing in the Champions League, I think that they will kick on next season and they will be challenging for top two at least, top three at least.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Let's have a look at Southampton.
I think Southampton will get relegated, and that is purely just because I don't think that they've got the quality to cut it, man. They've got some quality players. They're going to lose Broja though. It looks like Shea Adams is going to be off to Nottingham Forest.
Good signing for them.
Yeah, I think Tino Livramento is going to be off to probably West Ham. I think Tino Livramento could be West Ham's option to solve their right back spot. But I think that Southampton, they're probably losing Ward-Prowse. Let's be real. I think Ward-Prowse will go to a top team. Obviously, everyone's in agreement. Giving Ward-Prowse a free kick from a certain range is basically giving him a penalty, because he's just he's the best free kick taker he's one of the best in the world.
So you think Southampton? You think they're going to be in a relegation battle?
Do you
actually think they're going to be really in a relegation battle?
I think they will be relegated this season. And sorry for Southampton fans though, but they've signed Romeo Lavia, that seems to indicate that Ward-Prowse is going to be off, as he is a CDM, very similar profile player in terms of being a box-to-box midfielder.
But not as good.
Nowhere near as good. Man City under 21s. I think Southampton are going to be in quite the fight this season.
Okay, let's move on. Nottingham Forest.
We live in Ilkeston. All of our mates are either Forest fans or Derby fans, and Forest coming up, Derby going down. I've been quite a hectic, some quite hectic discussions and debates. Me and my friends were debating earlier on which Forest players would get into Leeds 11 and which Leeds players would get into Forest 11. Forest have had quite a busy window, really. They've bought in Nyakate, they've bought in Awaniyi, they've bought in Brandon Williams, that Costa Rican lad who's going to be spending the next 6 months back out on loan. They've made some good signings. They've signed another centre-half, but I can't recall his name. I think that it very much is very similar to Fulham when they came up and they completely wiped out their entire 11 and they made a clean slate and they signed a bunch of new players that didn't gel together. They've had a poor pre-season. 3-1 to Coventry, 0-0 with Barnsley, 1-0. They beat Burton 1-0. And I think soon they're playing a big European team. I can't seem to recall who it is. I just saw it earlier on the Forest page on Facebook. But I think that they will be safe. Steve Cook's a good manager. The thing with Forest is the partnership they've lost with Jed Spence and Brennan Johnson, with Jed Spence going to Spurs, is huge. That's going to be a huge blow for them. But they've bought in the best possible replacement in Nico Williams, because he has a partnership with Brennan Johnson for the Wales national team. You don't seem to understand that they've not lost Jed Spence. They've lost the partnership between Jed Spence and Brennan Johnson, but they've bought in Nico Williams. I don't know if I said Brandon Williams. He plays for Man U. But Nico Williams, and he is going to be a great player for me. Dean Henderson as well is a hit or miss. He's either going to do really well, he's going to have a point to prove to get into that Man U team when he comes back, with a possible David De Gea exit if they don't do well this season, I think is imminent. But I think that he'll come back with a point to prove, or he'll come back with confidence shattered and he just won't kick on. I think Forest will be safe. I think probably 15th to 12th.
15th to 12th. You don't think they're going to be in a relegation battle?
I think they'll be in a battle for, a bit like Brentford, they'll be in a battle for a bit of the season, but I think they'll have an active window in January as well, and I think that they'll survive.
Okay, let's have a look at Newcastle. Now, Newcastle's interesting because
It is an
Newcastle
interesting
are
one.
Officially the richest club in the world, but they're not really throwing the money around.
I think they will be in Europe. Bruno Guimaraes is an absolute baller. Sven Botman is one of the best centre-halves in the world. It was being touted out by some top European clubs, but Newcastle United stumped up all of the cash they could. They were scrambling down the side of the sofa for the pennies. I don't think they really need to, but I think that they're going to be a force this season.
And there seems to be showing some interest in our boy Jack Harrison. Do you think he's going to go there?
No, I think I've said before. I think that Harrison's comments on "we'll see if he leaves Leeds," I think that's purely just because he's in contract talks and he doesn't want to show his hand. He wants to get the best deal possible. If he says, yeah, I want to stay, Leeds are going to lower that wage a bit because they know that there's emotions at play. But if he says, no, I'm leaving, then they're going to offer him quite a bit more.
So Newcastle, where are Newcastle going to finish?
Newcastle United will finish.
Europe? challenging for Europe?
5th to 7th. They went on a really good run last season. Guimaraes, the CDM, for me, he's one of the best CDMs in the Prem. Easily. They have done some brilliant business. They've only signed Sven Botman, but they are interested in our boy Arno Kalimwendo, who's the one that I keep saying he would be a great player for us. I was saying that before we were even linked with him, because I signed him on a career mode and he seems to have good stats. I base everything off of FIFA. But like I said for ages, even as soon as we stayed up, Arno Kalimwendo from PSG, it would be an absolutely class signing for us.
Okay,
so I think that Newcastle
Scum.
Europe. Scum.
Stand up if you hate Man U. Stand up if you hate Man U. Stand up if you hate Man U.
20th of the table.
Are they going down?
No.
When are they going down?
Ten Hag seems to be a decent manager. You know, he won the Bangkok Century Cup. Let's be real, he beat Liverpool 4-0. He beat Liverpool's C team 4-0.
They've made a signing that's a really good signing recently, haven't they?
Christian Eriksen.
He's going to be a good signing for them.
Is he though? He's quite an old player. I think he's 30.
He's smart.
His long passing, his passing range is absolutely mental.
Smart player.
And
we'd love to him at least.
I would love to knock Scum off their horse now and just say, look, I think they're going to get ninth, but I don't. I think they will. It's hit or miss again. It's hit or miss. It's either they're going to kick on and do really well.
What's happening with Ronaldo?
I think I said today, I made a prediction a couple of days ago that he will go to Sporting CP. I think it's a Portuguese
Maybe he'll
team.
end up staying at Man
United.
He
will stay.
And he'll linger and cause them problems in that dressing room.
I said that
I actually want to
Ronaldo makes Man U worse, because you take Man U finished second. They were runners up to the title. They were challenging for the title against City. Then they were. They finished second in 2021. Yeah, they finished second.
Yeah, we cannot forget about that.
Yeah.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a gift.
Solskjaer.
What we on?
For me, Solskjaer.
Imagine giving Solskjaer time, but not David Moyes. I mean, what are you on?
You see, Solskjaer's a good manager for me. Solskjaer is a good manager for me. I think that the ownership of Man U...
Jose Mourinho was at Chelsea and he spent all that time trying to destroy Man United, and then he did it from the inside.
No. Let's not let the rivalry play a part here, because being purely speaking out of a footballing brain, out of a pundit brain, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a good manager until they bought in Ronaldo. What happened when they bought in Ronaldo? They were on a great run at the end of last season. They were on a great... They were though. But then they bought in Ronaldo. They're getting beat by Watford. They're getting draws against Newcastle.
Are they going to challenge for Europe? Are they going to be mid-table?
I think they will challenge. I'm not sure about top four. But I think that they've done enough to get Europe. I think they've bought in Eriksen. They're Frankie de Jong's never. I think you're more likely to see Liverpool going in with a late on in the window to hijack the Frankie de Jong deal. It works for them. They need a young centre mid who's got it all, and he's got that all.
And he'd rather go Liverpool.
Yeah, he would rather go Liverpool.
He'll be Scum.
He'll be playing, challenging for titles.
And you don't get people calling him Scum. Nobody likes him.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on from Scum.
Yeah.
Manchester City.
Manchester
City. Our boys gone there. Two of our boys have gone there, really.
Who's two of our boys? Which one? Which other one?
Haaland.
Oh, yeah.
He's a Leeds lad.
We could have had him. We could have had him for 4 million from Salzburg. We could have had him. We could have had him. But anyway.
He's a beast, isn't he?
50 million for Haaland is an absolute steal. That is an absolute class bit of business.
They've done some good business.
Yeah.
But then again, they've got deep pockets, and they're also got the draw of going to be challenging again for Champions League.
But with Man City, you need to talk a bit about the outgoings as well. Fernandinho, their captain, really. They're a bit captainless at the minute. Fernandinho, I think he's coming on to 40 years old. Played with him for time and time. But he has been their captain, and he is that leader. He scored against us. I think it was the only goal he scored this season, but obviously a lot of players scored their only goal against us this season. But Fernandinho is a good player, and they've lost a leader on the pitch in him. Zinchenko gone to Arsenal. I like Zinchenko, but I don't think he's ever going to get into that City 11. Cucurella, on the other hand,
Sterling's gone as well.
Sterling's gone. With City, you've got to look at net spend, because you could say they overspend, but do they really? 51 million on Haaland, 10 million on Julian Alvarez, and then they've bought in Phillips for 40 million. Come on, that's good. Sterling for 45 million. Zinchenko's gone to Arsenal for 30 million. They've got they've sold Fernandinho's released from his contract.
They've sold us Darko
Garby for
and mate, what you let him go for? He looks like an absolute monster. He's going to be phenomenal for us. Built like Adebayor.
Yeah.
For those of you that remember Adebayor, and obviously he doesn't play the same position, but this guy looks good.
Yeah.
This guy looks good. So where do we think Man City are going to finish? Top 3?
Top 3, definitely. It is going to be quite weird this season because I still stand by the fact that Spurs will kick on this season.
And how many goals is Haaland going to get? How much of a signing is that going to look if he bags 25, goals?
I don't think he's going to be all that, really. He's a great player. He's a Leeds lad, and I've got to respect him. He is the next Zlatan for me.
Well,
you can knock that.
You don't think he's going to do well this season?
I think he'll do well, but he's injury prone. And he's injury prone in the German league, but the Premier League's a lot more physical. You got John McGinn pulling out tackles on a 16-year-old like he's a bulldozer. But Haaland's quite injury prone, and young lads are. Gelhardt's injury prone because they're growing lads. They're still growing. They're developing. They heal quicker though.
Right. Okay.
Haaland. Yeah. Liverpool. They've signed Nunez for 100 million. Let's be real. No one heard of Darwin Nunez before Liverpool broke their transfer record to sign him.
I must really like the look of him.
Yeah, he is a good player, but they've signed Nunez and that's it for me. I don't know. Enlighten me if I've forgotten anyone.
They've Mane as well, haven't they?
Yeah, enlighten me if I've forgotten anyone. But for me,
they've gone backwards.
No, they've not. They're going. For me, they're very much going forwards.
Yeah, but if they sold Mane,
yeah,
bought Nunez.
No.
In relation to everybody else, in relation to Man City, have they gone forwards, backwards?
For me, they're very much thinking forwards. You ask who's one of the most iconic front threes that the Premier League has ever seen. It's Mane, Firmino, and Salah.
Mane's gone.
Yeah, but you look at the players they're bringing in, right? Luis Diaz is the next Salah, right? Darwin Nunez.
Wish we'd signed him.
Yeah, they've bought in Diaz to. We've got Sinisterra now, haven't we? They've bought in Diaz to replace Salah when he goes. They've bought in Nunez to replace Mane now that he's gone. They've bought in Jota to replace Firmino now he's gone. All of them are under the age of 24. All of them are like the future front three that are very similar, and I think Liverpool will do well this season. I think 3rd place to 1st place, somewhere around that bracket.
Leicester City.
Ravaged by injuries just like us last season. Wesley Fofana, Jamie Vardy. We did, I spoke about them when we were speaking about West Ham, obviously. I think that they'll do well this season now that they've not got the burden of the Conference League on them. I think that they will kick on and they'll get Europe. Really, that's enough said, really. I think that they'll do well.
Okay, well, they're going to finish. They're going to challenge for Europe. Are they going to be mid-table?
For me, 5th to 8th.
What have they got up front? Because Vardy's knocking on a bit now.
Vardy, they've got Patson Daka and Adeyemi. Not Adeyemi. No, he plays for Salzburg. Iheanacho. No, Adeyemi plays for Dortmund. He's just gone to Dortmund. But they've got Vardy, Daka and Iheanacho. They've got quite a bit of depth now that they've gained from playing in the Conference League and having to have that depth. Patson Daka, for me, is an absolute beast. I wish we could have had him from Salzburg. But he is an absolute beast. And I think Vardy is, if he does stop playing as well, and his age does start to get to, which I don't think will happen this season, but Patson Daka can come in, and they've got Harvey Barnes.
Do you think they're going to be challenging for Europe?
Yeah, okay. I think they've got a good team.
Leeds United. Well, you know what?
14.
We've lost Phillips.
14 to 9.
We've lost Rafinha.
14th to 9th.
I'd love to see us challenging for Europe this season.
We know
do you think we've got a better squad than we had last season?
Hard to say till we see us.
Well, we've lost Rafinha, we've lost Phillips. Don't know whether they're going to lose Harrison or not.
We
strengthened in a lot of areas.
I think
tactics are the main thing that's different.
14th to 12th for me is where we will finish. We know what happens when we predict Leeds to get Europe. The wheels completely fall off.
I am working my heart over my head, and I'm going to say that Leeds are going to challenge for that 7th or 8th spot, and we're going to make Conference League, and we're going to do it easily.
Yeah.
And we're actually even going to finish above Scum. And all that. Right, let's move on because I'm now going to. I'm falling asleep dreaming about what's going to happen this season.
Let's move on then.
Fulham.
They have. Oh my days. They're going to stay up this season. I'm telling you.
Scott Parker can keep them up, is he?
They're going to stay up. No, they'll sack Scott Parker, I think.
He's not there anymore, is he?
He's at Bournemouth, I think.
That's what I mean.
Bournemouth. Scott Parker's Bournemouth's manager, but I do think he'll get sacked. He's not Premier League. But we've already spoken about.
And Fulham made a decision a few years ago when
yeah.
they last came up to buy 11 first-team players, and it didn't work out for them. What's their strategy been this season?
To sign Bernd Leno from Arsenal, one of the best keepers in the world in his day.
Just park the bus.
To sign Andreas Pereira from Scum, and he is a good player for a mid-table team. They've made some class signings, and for me that they have done enough to at least they might stay up by the skin on their chin.
And then we move on to the most consistent manager in the Premiership. The consistent manager.
Frank Lampard took Derby from 6th place in the Premier League to 6th place in the Championship to 6th place in the Championship. He took Everton from 14th in the Premier League to 14th in the Premier League. I think he took Chelsea. He didn't change Chelsea at all. He took them from 4th in the from 3rd in the Premier League to 3rd in the Premier League. Absolute beast. You can't knock his consistency.
Everywhere he goes, he loses his job.
Yeah, I think that he'll get sacked again. A lot of managers
don't like
are
Frankie.
season.
Not
Don't
a
like
fan
him.
of Frankie. What I find about Frank is the way in which it's never his fault. It's never set up wrong. It's always the players or the referee or the fans or the circumstances or the transfers or the FA or whatever it may be. It's never Frank's fault. Never takes responsibility. What transfer business have they done?
Apparently they've signed Traore for 10 million, which is an absolute steal. You can't.
I'm glad because I don't want him.
I think he would have been a good player for us.
He doesn't know where the back of the net is. He can dribble.
Yeah, he can dribble, but in a narrow system, that's what you want. You want players to get in behind. That's
2-year-old niece can dribble.
That's what Aronson was doing against Villa, getting in behind. I think.
I go to bed and I wake up in the morning and I'm dribbling.
He can time a run. He can get in behind and then he can just slot it across for Harrison or
who?
Harrison.
Oh.
For Harrison or Aronson or Bamford to someone. You can just
Aronson or Bamford. You think? Oh, you assuming he'd have come to Leeds?
If he'd have come to Leeds, he could have just slotted it across to get a nice finish.
Not convinced, but that's the only major signing they've made.
Yeah, I think they are going to be after Meslier and Harrison. Why would you?
If you're Meslier, why would you?
No, we won't. But I think personally, late on in the window, with Harrison having played with Frank Lampard in his senior career, when Frank Lampard was getting very old and Harrison was just a little grasshopper.
I think if we sold Harrison to Everton, it would be very bad.
And there are videos of Frank Lampard saying that Harrison's got the potential to be a calibre of player as Ronaldo. He speaks about Meslier very, very, very highly. I think that when they late on in the window, they are going to come in and they are going to try and nick a few of our players like that. But I don't think they will.
Okay, so where do you think they're going to finish?
I think they'll have a tough season. They've only really. I don't think they've signed anyone but Traore. Enlighten me if I'm wrong. They've obviously Van der Beek's gone, one of their best players last season since January on loan from Man U. The Dele Alli has been an absolute flop. Richarlison has gone. Calvert-Lewin, I think that he will go. I think Calvert-Lewin will go.
Bad window.
Bad window.
I think they've had to be realistic because being so close to going down and realising the financial position they're in, I think they've had to make some money back. And this is the window they've done it.
Yeah.
Big gamble. We saw in Leeds in January had the opportunity of signing players and didn't sign players when we perhaps needed to. This could be year for Everton.
They'll be anywhere from 19th to 15th for me. I don't think they'll kick on, really.
Okay, let's look next. We've got Palace.
Palace will be an absolute force this season. They're going to be up there. They
were technically until the last couple of games could have gone down.
No, they couldn't.
Yeah, no. Mathematically
they were safe. They were safe in March.
They were.
I think they were. No, Southampton were the one. I think you're talking about Southampton.
I think Palace could have technically.
Nah, I think that they've signed Eboué.
You think they're going to kick on?
Yeah, they've signed Mateta on a permo. I think.
Are they going to challenge for Europe?
Top 10? Yeah, I think top 10. Top 10 is more realistic. Top 10 is
middle of the board.
Yeah, top 10 is a good target for them, and I think they will do it. They've signed Eboué from Derby, who's a great player, and
we're going to play him. We're playing him on Friday.
No, because with Crystal Palace, they always play the young players. Patrick Vieira loves to play a young player. You could have a player that no one in the world has ever heard of. Maybe you could have a player that you've never ever heard of. You never even heard his name uttered, but then the next week he's like a future star, and everyone knows who he is. They've lost Conor Gallagher, but I think they're going to get James Garner from Man U. I've said to my Forest fan friends that I don't think he's going to go Forest. I think James Garner would slot into a Crystal Palace system absolutely perfect. I think that they will finish anywhere from 12th to 8th.
Okay. Chelsea.
Thomas Tuchel is going to be one of the first managers to get sacked next season.
Wow, that's a big claim. What's that
They
based
scraped Europe last season. They were clambering to stay in that top 4 spot last season. They did it, but they really need to make some transfer moves.
They signed Raheem Sterling.
Yeah,
Also they signed.
Yeah, they signed Sterling. They've signed who's their centre back in
Rafinha. Oh no, they didn't sign Rafinha.
Some of the
they just did tribute videos for
Yeah.
Rafinha, and then Rafinha went to Barcelona because he didn't actually want to go.
They signed that centre
They're not
half.
that big a club.
They signed that centre half from Napoli. They have signed quite a few high calibre of players, but can Thomas Tuchel do it? He had high calibre players last season, and he for me, he looked clueless in a lot of the games. He is one of the best managers in the world for me, but in the Premier League, he obviously won them the Champions League. He is a great calibre of manager, but I think that you're gonna start to see him lose a few games, go on a few bad runs of form, and then I think that Ted Boehly, their new manager, is going to want to try and keep them in a good position, and I think that he will get sacked.
Okay, do you think they're going to challenge for you?
Obviously.
Yeah,
Maybe
top 4.
I think that it's a gamble. It's with a new owner. There's always a bit of a gamble, unless he's like absolutely like Newcastle United's new owners. You know they're going to do well, but I think anywhere from 7th to 4th for me.
Okay.
Brighton and Hove Albion. They will be an absolute class team this season. Great. I'm saying that about a lot of the teams, but Brighton last season managed to get top half. There was talk about them getting Europe. They were that much of a good team last season. Graham Potter's a class manager. Would love to see him manage England. As soon as Southgate has a bad game, all the England fans are like, Graham Potter, get him in. But I think that he's a great manager, and he will achieve quite some good
for Europe.
Maybe not Europe. Maybe around that Crystal Palace area. Where I put Crystal Palace maybe from 12th to 8th, maybe.
Okay, and we've got Brentford.
They
just
will
want to point
be relegated.
out highlight of my season watching.
Sergi Canos.
Yeah, scored a goal against us. He only ever turns up to play Leeds. Hates Leeds. Only ever bothered about scoring against Leeds. So he scored a goal. Come on, not been on the pitch very long. Took his top off. I mean, this is a game that, from Brentford's point of view, it's a nothing game. They don't need to do anything to stay up. They're already safe. They're not really kicking on anywhere. Wafted his shirt around his head and chucked it into the crowd. Got a yellow card, and then like 20 seconds later, got sent off by getting a second yellow card. Practically cost them the game. What a knobhead. Sorry for the language.
It's so entertaining. It's so poetic that he was so happy because he's thinking, I've just sent Leeds down. When actually, he played the massive part in keeping us up.
Thank you for your participation. We think you're going down. We think you're going down because you've just lost your best player and you've not replaced him.
Christian Eriksen, yeah. And Tony getting linked with Leeds. You love to see it. I think Ivan Toney's a class player. I said to my dad, I think that he is a calibre that when he is in his prime, he could go to Liverpool.
You're not saying he's going to go to West Ham, do you think?
I don't. West Ham Broya has been reported to be in advanced talks with West Ham now. But I think that Ivan Toney will be a good player for us. And I say that about any player that's linked for us because we've been absolutely starved for transfers in the last few windows apart from this one.
If you got the option of going from Brentford to Leeds would look a safe.
The only problem is he's slated Brentford a lot. There's a lot of videos of him talking bad about Brentford, and is he really going to be loyal? But I think that he could provide good cover to Bamford and he could break into that first team.
Okay.
Aston Villa. Injured our 15, 16-year-old prodigy of a baller.
I think if McGinn is training with the under-23s, I don't think we've got to worry about.
Cannot wait to welcome John McGinn back to Ellen Road. Gonna give him a bit of the I want my chips. But if you know, you know. If you know, you know. But I think that he's a
what is it on toast?
Stephen penalty on toast. I think that Aston Villa will. Steve, they've bought in some like Diego Carlos. They've bought in. They've made loads of signings. I can't possibly note them all. But they are a good team. But I think that again, it's players that aren't going to gel together, and I think that they are going to be
top 10.
Yeah, top 10. But I don't think they're going to. Steven Gerrard's not all that they've made him to be.
Bournemouth.
They will go down. Ryan Fredericks on loan from West Ham is a decent signing. All their signings came in January. Todd Cantwell.
They're not really going to do very well.
Solanke is a good. Put him in your FPL, man. I should be giving you advice because we've got the league and we want to be winning the league for our FPL. But he's a good striker and I think he can bag quite a few goals. But I don't think that he's going to do enough to keep him up. I think they'll be relegated.
Arsenal.
I think that they will possibly. They'll be fighting with Chelsea this season for top 4. My top 4 is Spurs, not in any order. I just think Spurs, Man City, Liverpool, and then Arsenal and Chelsea fighting it out, and then Man U in a European Europa spot.
Missed out on
but that is
Rafinha. One of the really most entertaining things I've seen in so long is all the videos of Arsenal going on about, okay, he's better than Saka, and then all of a sudden he's not better than Saka, and all this. But
all the Arsenal fans admitted Rafinha was better than Saka because it looked like they were signing him. And then they did it to us for no reason.
Let's take it all back. Thank you ever so much for watching the video. If you've made it to the end, thank you for watching. Again, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and feel free to share. Proud of my lad who knows his stuff. People are talking about him looking like Joffy, which
comment if I look like Joffy because I'm of the mind next season I'm going to get Joffy Jr. on the back of my shirt.
I don't think he looks like Joffy.
All of you lot seem. I think I do. He's a sexy bloke. Let's be real, yeah. I don't swing that way, but he's a sexy bloke, and just like myself.
Comment in the comments below. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you think there's anybody who's going to do better than we've said, or not as well as we've said.
And enlighten me if I've got them wrong on any of the transfers, because I think a few of them I wasn't 100% sure.
We will see you next time.
See you next time.